Yo, 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 everybody, what's going on? Welcome to episode 69 of Climbing the Ladder. I'm your host, ChanmanV, and today we've got two sets of topics, I think, that are worth discussing, and they were announced earlier this week and maybe late last week. First off, we got Gameheart, and we have guest Ryan Schutter that's going to be on here to discuss. He's actually right here, but I'll introduce him in just 1 second. And then the second half of the show will be all about TeSPa and the guys that are responsible for the Lone Star Clash and all that good stuff that was happening in Texas. They've actually expanded and actually rebranded too, so they're going to be on to talk about that and just their new plans and what they're going to be doing. And then we'll have Q&A kind of between each section. So we'll do a Q&A with Ryan at the end of the Gameheart section, then we'll do Q&A with Tyler and Chris at the end of the TeSPa section. So you guys can get questions in for them before they take off. But before we get started, I want to introduce my co-host each and every week, Mr. John Clark from eSports Solution. What's up, John?
Not much. Just hanging out, ready for today's show. It should be a good one.
Good stuff, good stuff. And like I mentioned before, we got Mr. Ryan Schutter on here, who's been on the show in the past to talk about Gameheart, and want to have him on again to kind of give us an update and some of the other things he's working on. What's going on, Ryan?
Not too much. Thanks again for having me. And hopefully we can convince some people to support my project.
All right. So speaking of which, why don't we? Well, actually, let's get started with Gameheart and just really what the current state of Gameheart is right now. Why don't you give us an update on what's happened, I guess, between now and the last time you were on the show?
Okay. Well, I don't really remember exactly what had happened at that point when I was on the show, but Gameheart has been. It spread all over the community. I mean, it was in tournaments all over the world, whether it was the Afterwork Gaming League, and I think it's the Netherlands, don't quote me on that, or the Australian Cyber League. It's been at DreamHack. It's been in the GSTL, the Taiwan eSports Association. It's been all over the place, and that's been really great. But lately it has died off a little bit. Hasn't been as much use as Blizzard has continuously improved their own observer interface tool. But I've have over 200 logos from teams and tournaments that have asked to have their stuff added, and it's been pretty good as far as that's concerned.
I mean, a lot of didn't you mention that one of the reasons why it hasn't been used lately is just because of more maintenance, like you're not having maybe as much time to actually update a lot of the maps and that sort of business?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the main reason that I feel that it's died off is because I haven't updated it at all in like 4 months. And the reason why is because the update process before, every time I wanted to update, even make a small change, it was 5 to 6 hours of me sitting there just uploading files individually, each one over 100 files.
You don't have you don't have that much time in a day?
Yeah, it was pretty bad, right?
Free time.
Like during DreamHack, I'm going to use this as an example. These guys were great. My Insanity, they had Stardust reach the finals, and they really wanted to have their logo on the map, but I just couldn't do it for them in time because it's just too hard. So I felt really bad about that. But luckily, Blizzard has made some changes in the last patch, which has taken it so like now when I want to upload a new version of Gameheart, it takes me about 5 minutes instead of 5 hours.
Wow. Okay.
It's a pretty drastic change, but Gameheart needs to be reworked a bit to work with that. So hopefully I can get that done.
Okay. I mean, I know one of the big things that you announced, it was earlier this week or was it late last week? The days, man, they just run together for me. Is the Indiegogo that you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I started that on Sunday.
Okay.
It's basically a project that allows me to just completely rework Gameheart to use the new editor updates that Blizzard has rolled out. Because basically Gameheart used to be very, very complicated. It was bulky, and it had to be that way because the observers in Gameheart were not real observers. They were actually just players that didn't have any units. And with that solution, which we had to use because that's the only way to get zoom, right? That was the only way to get zoom. And with that solution to that problem came a lot of complexity. Like the problems you had to solve to make that work are actually pretty enormous. And now that they've added zoom as a default thing, I can just use normal observers again. But so Gameheart can become much lighter weight, much more efficient, much easier to update, much easier for tournaments to use, gives tournaments much more control. We can allow it to work with the Blizzard interface mod. There are so many good things that can come of this, but I have to rework it in order to make that happen.
Okay, so I'm actually showing the Indiegogo page here, and looks like so you did start it on was it 5 days ago, and you're probably
Chris,
just
could you link me real quick?
Yeah, it's just over a quarter of the way there to your goal, which is actually pretty good. $2,200, and your goal is 8,000, right? How are you? So how did you come up with that number? I guess 8,000.
8,000. Well, basically, I figured out what it was going to take me, or how long I felt it was going to take me to completely implement this, and figured out what my cost of living, since I want to work on this full time for about 2 months. So what is my time, or what is my cost of living in that time? Plus I have to pay my partner who works on interface mod files for me. I have to compensate the Stronger Team Colors mod guy, because that guy put in an intense amount of work building that, and I don't want to start taking money from the community for his work, right? So I have to compensate him as well. Plus all the fees that Indiegogo and PayPal or whatever payment processor takes out. So in the end, it's to me, I think it's going to be about $5,000 to $5,500 if we reach the goal, which I'm not sure we'll be able to do. I'm really hoping we can, but we'll see. Even if it doesn't reach the goal, it is flexible funding. So if you contribute and it doesn't reach the goal, I do still keep your money. But the project is, I will put.
Good
I am
guy
working
here.
on
He's
it
good
right
guy
now.
here.
Yeah, I want to make sure you know that. I am putting something out, no matter what. It's just kind of a question of what I put out based on how much I can raise. So, and how much time I have to work on it, because it's expensive for me to live and not be working.
You are
so
lucky that Richard is not here today.
Yeah, I know. How convenient.
Oh, I forgot to let people know. Richard's
I
at a
was hoping
funeral,
that he
guys.
would
That's
be.
why. Yeah, he's at a funeral. Actually, Richard was on here last time. John, if you remember, Richard was on here last time, and Richard was actually saying that if Ryan did one of these Indiegogos, that he'd actually support it, because
you
actually
have to
doing
remember.
stuff.
It's been what, 4 or 5 months since I was on here, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's at least 3 to 3.5 months since I've been on here.
Right.
And I spent that time looking for other ways to make this work. I didn't want to go to the community at the time. I was almost totally against it, but I just can't find a way. And the rules that Blizzard has put down for how you can make money with custom maps or find compensation are pretty strict. So even there's another project right now going on, which is pretty close to reaching its funding goal of $80,000, the StarCraft Universe project, and you guys should check that out, because it looks really cool, and I want to see that get funded, because I want to see what a big StarCraft arcade project will look like, right? I want to see what they can do with that kind of funding and that kind of project. But so those guys can offer things like you can get a pet or a weapon or something like that. Now, technically, you can't do that if it's exclusive, but if other people can unlock it, they can still offer that as you get it early, other people have to work to unlock it in our map, right?
Sure.
That fits within the Blizzard rules. You can't make it an exclusive thing. But the problem with Gameheart is I can't offer people anything because they don't physically use it. They just watch it on tournament streams.
I see.
And I can't charge tournaments to add their logos and that sort of thing. I don't believe within the rules. I can't add custom graphics for so I think I could do it if I might be able to get away with it since anybody could use the graphic, right? If I put the EG logo, technically anyone could use it, right? So it's not an exclusive thing. I don't know. I don't really want to do that anyways because it's weird. I was already adding it for free before, so I don't want to go check out this new update. Now you have to pay to get the same stuff, right? I don't really want to do that. So
well, the problem,
I don't know. I'm kind of trapped in a box. I'm hoping that the teams and tournaments that benefit from Gameheart, maybe they'll be willing to chip in a little bit, and maybe that will help me out. But we'll see what happens with it. Hopefully we can reach the goal. If not, I'm still going to put something out there. I'm working on it already. Hopefully the earliest version will be at DreamHack Bucharest. I was talking to them last night. So
well, that's the thing about DreamHack. Those guys should be helping you out for sure. I think.
Should.
Robert, you're watching this. You should be helping this guy out. I mean, because DreamHack's been using Gameheart for a while now, and it's been great. It's been great for you.
Value.
And it adds to the value.
It adds to their production value. I mean, they'd have to pay someone else to do it on their end anyway.
I don't want to harass like tournaments into doing. I'm just saying if they want to contribute something, that's great. If not, another thing that they could do, maybe I'm going to ask them if they'll do it. We'll see. Is if they could shout out my Indiegogo or something during it. Hopefully they'll be willing to do that. I don't know what rules they have about that. I know the Swedish television has some strange rules too. So we'll see.
Definitely.
But hopefully they'll at least be willing to do that. And if not, it's going to be a basic version that's there. But I think it's really exciting what Gameheart can become in the future. So I'm pretty upbeat about the project even.
I think it's really exciting too, and it's always good to have more, just competition, I guess, is the way a lot of people put it, and competition with even from a UI opting standpoint is good, and it's good that they haven't shut you down, because I remember 4 months ago, that's one thing that you were just walking on eggshells about, right? Is that you were kind of worried, what the Blizzard team would do, but it's kind of weird because you guys are, or actually Gameheart is classified completely different, like you were just saying. You're classified as a custom game when you're not at all. So the actual monetization of it should be completely different too, and that's why I think like these tournaments should be helping you out. Like, I'm not harassing them, Brian. Like, I'll harass them for you. I mean, it's a service that you're offering, and they're using it to.
It's a little nerve-wracking, right? Because I don't want anything. I'd much rather than have tournaments pay me tons of money, right? Like one tournament or two tournaments. I'd rather everyone was using it. That's the bigger deal. So I don't want tournaments to be shy from using it because they can't afford to contribute something or something like that, right? So I don't want to like make it feel like, oh, tournaments, if you're using this, you better fucking pay me. I want everyone to use it. So I just want to make that clear.
Yep.
But yeah, it's definitely, it's not exactly a custom map, but I mean it is. That's how it runs. It still runs off of custom maps, but now after this update, it will be so much easier to use than it was before. It'll be literally just like running a normal map, except there's gonna be some drop downs on the left in the lobby. There's no more in-game lobby. It's just the main StarCraft lobby. There's gonna be some drop downs on the left where this probably looks like I'm holding my right arm because I saw that this thing reverses it for some reason. But
right.
I'm holding up my left hand right now, everyone. It's just mirrored. But yeah, there's going to be some drop downs in the lobby where you select your league and team, or the teams for the two players, and that'll be it. And then you just press launch and you go. And then if there's other options, whether you want to turn on strong team colors, there'll be drop downs for those as well. So it's really simple to use compared to how it was before. And it's going to be ultra lightweight because all the complexity of the old system where players were the observers, that was creating like 99% of the stuff running in the background of Gameheart. So there's so many fewer moving parts now, or there will be, that there's far less that can go wrong. Though I do feel Gameheart had a pretty good track record. There's only a handful of problems that I had, like serious problems that were reported. Like people accidentally drawing because they didn't know the drawing hotkeys and stuff like that.
That's not used very often, unfortunately. The drawing stuff, and
it's going to be gone.
Parts. Oh, really?
It's going to be gone. Yeah, because it uses a lot of stuff, and it's one of those things where you'd need to be an actual player to do that, and nobody used it anyways. And the only time people did use it, it was on accident. So it was really bad, I think. And plus, there's external telestrator software that's getting really good now. I've seen people using it during some of the like satellite streams using it during WCS, and they've been really good with it. So
yeah, it's really nice. But I actually like the Gameheart drawing better, especially for something like static videos. Like if people made YouTube videos and stuff, I was always wondering like when anybody would ever start using that because it just looks better. It looks better than any kind of teleprompter.
Yeah, it's really big and crisp and chunky, and I like that about it.
Well, it's immersed into the actual map, not just like drawing on top of the thing. So,
but we'll see if it can come back someday, like whether they make it so that observers can interact with the game again, because that was a change that they made back in February, right before Heart of the Swarm came out. There was a patch where they made it so that observers couldn't like input any data into the map. They could receive data, but they couldn't, like, you can't press any buttons as an observer or anything like
Oh,
that
really?
anymore. Where so maybe they'll add some functionality for that again, and we'll see. And then the possibilities will become even greater. But there's still so much that Gameheart and mods like it can do right now that I think that the benefits of switching over to a real observer system far outweigh the cons.
So the fact that you just said that you wanted everybody to use this, right? That's the main reason that you don't want to charge anybody. What's the best way of achieving that, given that we've talked about Blizzard has their own team, that's right, building their own custom UI, and WCS is obviously really pervasive at this point. Let's just put it that way. So, like, how are you going to achieve that? I guess that's the question I have for you.
Well, Blizzard's UI thing, that's the other thing with this update, is it no longer works as an alternative to the BlizzObs. BlizzObs is my name for the Blizzard interface tool, or Blizzard Observer interface tool. I'm hoping people will start using it because I think it's a lot easier to say.
Yeah, it is.
So BlizzObs, everyone. That's what we're going to call those interface files now. And it used to be that Gameheart was a custom map, you use that. If you don't want to use the custom map of Gameheart, you use BlizzObs. But now you can use BlizzObs with Gameheart. That's how it's going to work, which means that tournament...
Oh, can't hear you. John, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, Ryan, your sound cut off for a second.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. You're back.
Okay. So yeah, Gameheart used to be just a custom map, and BlizzObs used to be an interface file you would use with normal maps, and they were completely exclusive. But now you will change the interface of Gameheart using the BlizzObs files. It works together. So you can create your own custom interfaces in Gameheart using the Blizzard interface mod. And I think that will be really good because a lot of people hated the decisions that I made, like putting resources at the bottom. So if you really don't like that, you should definitely support my project because tournaments, they cave to your pressure much easier than I do. So they will put resources in the top right.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I don't. So if you like that, you should definitely support the project because every tournament that's running right now, they can use the interface files they're using. If WCS tournament ends up using Gameheart, which obviously can't happen right now because Blizzard doesn't allow it, though I'm hoping that we'll be able to change that. We'll see what happens. I feel that Gameheart, the reason that they gave me for WCS being unable to use Gameheart was that Gameheart is quite complex, and if they're going to put their name on it, they have to QA it, and the process of QAing something as big and complex as Gameheart was, or is currently, is immense. So they just couldn't do that, right? But now it's going to be so much simpler. There's going to be far fewer moving parts, far fewer things that can go wrong. So I'm hoping I can take it to them and say, hey, can you look at this again, see whether WCS can use it? Because I feel like the things that Gameheart contributes are so significant. Yeah, and it's just going to make it easier on Blizzard, right? Like they don't have to implement their own logo system, right? Like they don't have to
exactly.
do that.
It's more of a plugin than anything else.
Make use of this. Yeah. And I know they're working on other things too that are going to help projects like Gameheart. So I know that they're definitely still interested in seeing things like Gameheart grow. So we'll see if we can get WCS to use it after this. I'm not sure. I can't make any promises that I can even get them to consider it, but I'm going to try because it will have changed so significantly that I think that they'll be willing to take another look at it.
I see. So right now, are you doing this full time? Is that the deal? Or
no, I'm doing mostly freelance graphic design work,
Okay.
but I won't be taking any more freelance work until this is complete if it reaches its goal. It will become full.
How confident do you think it will reach the goal? I mean, do you feel pretty confident about it?
Not super confident, to be perfectly honest. I think I probably missed my timing a
little
little
bit. Lots
bit.
of time.
Yeah, no, there's lots of time, but I'm trying to figure out how I can convince people to contribute, right? Because it doesn't sound that much better to people. Because to them, on their end, it looks very similar to the old Gameheart. It's for tournaments that it really changes, and for making Gameheart wider spread, right? The changes that I want to make will make it so much easier for more tournaments to adopt Gameheart, so much easier for current tournaments to use Gameheart, to make Gameheart work with replays. I can add 2v2 support. There's so much more that can be done with these
Are
changes.
you looking, when you talk about tournaments, are you only looking at like the top tier tournaments that are being ran, or have you considered maybe checking out a lot of the online, the organizations, almost like myself? This would be something great to add value to, if I'm going to run a 64 team or 64 player StarCraft 2 tournament, and I want to have really decent production value, and it's an online event. Personally, I would be willing to pay a small fee to use it. So, I mean, there are other organizations out there, that are doing similar things. If you reached out to any of them, if you started kind of a list of some of these organizations that are running tournaments, I know there's lots of team leagues going on right now that would benefit from something like that.
Or SC2L, that sort of thing. This
is not necessarily a list of tournaments that are using Gameheart, but I can say that the majority of organizations in this list, that I'm going to post it here in our Skype chat, and then I'll post it in the Twitch chat as well.
Okay.
So this list is organizations that either I just added because they're big tournaments and I want them to use Gameheart, or because they've contacted me to add their stuff. So those are the teams, and those are the leagues at the bottom. WCS hasn't obviously contacted me. I just added them just in case. I'm really hoping, maybe if I put their logo on the map and I show it to them, they'll be like, "Oh, that looks so good. Yeah, we want to use Gameheart now, right?" That's just an ideal thing. But I mean, there's so many small tournaments use Gameheart. It's if you run a small tournament or a show match, if you're just doing things for one weekend, send me your logo. Send a logo. I'll put it in there. It's no big deal. Not anymore. After this update, it won't be anyways. It'll take me 5 minutes. I just format your logo in Photoshop. I add it to the map, and then I press the update button, and your logo will be there for you. It'll automatically update every map that uses Gameheart.
Give people an idea of what it used to be like to update a map.
Okay, well, before I had one core mod file, right? And when I wanted to make a change, add a logo, I had to go into Photoshop and I'd do all the stuff I just talked about, right? Format the logo correctly for custom maps. I'd import it. I'd change all the data to work with the new logo, and then I'd save that mod file. And now I have to upload that mod file to each region individually. So I have to upload it to North America, and then I have to switch regions, sign out, close the editor, open the editor, sign in, upload it to the other region, switch regions, sign out, close the editor, open the editor, sign in, upload it to that region, repeat that for all 4 regions. And China wanted me to upload there as well. I couldn't figure out how to do it. Sorry, Chinese tournaments that asked me. And then I had to go onto each of the base, we'll just say the base 20 Gameheart maps. There's actually more than that, and I had constant requests to add Gameheart to new maps. And the reason I never did, and why I think it's fallen off, is because I haven't. Who wants to use the maps that I had from almost a year ago, right, or from 8 months ago? Nobody wants to use that. Right. So that's why I feel like Gameheart's fallen off in use more than anything. And it's just too much work, because every map I add, it exponentially increased the amount of effort it took to update it. So now I had to add the mod file to each of the 20 maps, and then I had to upload each of those 20 maps individually to each region, and then I had to do the logout switch region thing, upload them all to each region again. It was ridiculous. It was over 100 files. It would take 5 to 6 hours to do this process, and that's if I was like, okay, do that. And then, I'd get there and I'd be like, shit, I screwed one thing up. I'd see the Taiwan eSports Association is running a tournament, and I'd be like, damn it, I messed that one thing up. So now I have to go back that night, because I know DreamHack's coming up that weekend, right? I'm like, DreamHack's coming up this weekend. I got to fix this before then. So I have to go and do this whole 6-hour process again. It was just killing me. But like I said, Blizzard, I was asking for this for a while. I said, can we have it so that when you have a mod file, any map using that mod file can automatically use the newest version of that mod file you upload, right? That's what I wanted, because it was already working that way for Blizzard mod files. So for the Melee or the multiplayer mod files, and for the campaign mod files, anytime they updated that, any map using it would automatically update to use the new version. But it didn't work that way for normal mod makers or custom map makers. So they finally changed that so that you can set that as an option. it's a fucking amazing. It's completely it's going to completely change the way mods work. Peep mode, that guy, he's gonna, he right now I think he just like puts one map on at a time. He'll be able to put all of them up at once now, easily, right? Like it's gonna completely change everything. And they also made it so that you can upload to all 4 regions at the same time instead of just one at a time.
Nice.
So it's like in one patch, they completely changed that process. It's been amazing.
No, they made it more like it made you like 24 hours more efficient almost.
It's ridiculous how much it's changed. But I have to rework Gameheart to work with this new system.
Sure.
So that's what this whole project is sort of about. And it'll become so much better because now tournaments, because it automatically updates any map that uses Gameheart to use the newest version when I upload it, tournaments can add Gameheart to their own map. So if you have a tournament like Pro League or something that uses their own custom maps and they don't necessarily want to hand those over to me so that I can make them public for everyone, they can add Gameheart to their own map really easily in like 10 minutes or less. And then if I have to update Gameheart for any reason, it will automatically update their maps if they set it up to do that.
Nice.
So it's really cool. It's really cool. I'm very excited about it. So
you've set it up. I mean, have you set it up in a pretty modular way? So because you did mention, being able to use it with different maps. Could you actually use Gameheart and say like Star Strikers? Like
no.
that obscene interface. Okay.
Well, dang it.
I'm just hey.
I mean,
I'm just
I'm not. If Star Striker guy, if people are forming Star Striker teams and he wants to find out how to put logos on the map, I could maybe take the entire logo system of Gameheart and make it a modular thing that he can just plug into his map, right, into his mod.
Yeah.
But when I say that Gameheart is modular, I mean that it's self-contained and it's set up so that you can easily create new mods to add to it.
Yes.
So what I am going to do with this project is I'm going to add stronger team colors to Gameheart using this system so that any mod maker, and Gameheart's always been open source, by the way, anybody can go look at it. Like MIT Game Lab, who contributed a whopping
$1,000
to my Indiegogo project.
Wow.
They've been looking at Gameheart code for the older version of Gameheart to work on to help them understand their own project a bit better. I've been talking to them a little bit, and what they're doing is pretty interesting. And so what I'm talking about is it's very modular, so that anybody can create their own little mod, and then they can add that to their own Gameheart maps, right? So if they have 5 Gameheart maps, a tournament should say, "Hey, we want Brood War music." So instead of the normal music, we're going to create a little mod that turns all the music into Brood War music. So then they take that mod and they can just plug it into Gameheart. They don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to go, "Oh yeah, we want to have this custom mod for our multiplayer, but we also kind of want the Gameheart features, so we're going to have to rebuild all that." No, you just add Gameheart to your map, add that little mod to your map. You're good to go. It's going to work really easy.
Cool.
I mean, this is how Blizzard has designed the system. This isn't just me, but the way that I'm designing Gameheart now, it'll be much easier for people to do that with Gameheart because it was very complicated. Take credit for the system. This is how Blizzard has designed mod files to be. This is how they've designed them to work. But until now, it's been friggin' unreasonable to even try to use them that way because how complicated it was. But now we can do that, and I think that it can create huge growth because there are so many things that we can still do. I saw some people in the Indiegogo threads well, why do we want to support Gameheart? Blizzard's thing is already so powerful now. What more can Gameheart do? It's such a short-sighted perspective.
Yep.
The things that I'm talking to people about right now that I can't even tell you are so cool. It's really there's so much that can still be done, and I really hope that we can.
What's tough to explain to people, because I totally understand. I totally understand the benefits of it too. Is that it's more of a technical benefit, I feel like in some ways, than it is, more of a visual marketing kind of sales. That benefit because, like you said, it's going to make your life. Your life's already a million times easier, but it's also going to act as two things, right? It's going to act as a standalone type of thing, and then it's going to act as also like an accessory type of plug-in thing. And I don't think people can, people can't really see that because there's nothing to, like you said before, there's nothing tangible just to show them right now. So,
well, there's the stretch goals that I had are completely new features that I'd like to have because but those are. I mean, I think there's almost no chance of us reaching either of those. But but this is an example of what I'm talking about, right? Like the timing indications as a stretch goal. That means like someone posted this on Reddit like 3 weeks, a month ago, 2 months ago. I don't know. My memory's shit. But what it is it's basically a thing that like when stim finishes, a little stim icon appears above the Marine's head. So you go, oh, stim just finished. You're watching the battle. Boom, you see the timing. The guy rushes into the base. It's like it sells that timing to you. You go, now I know what that guy was thinking.
Sure.
I saw that exact timing right there. And that was such a cool idea. I was like, that's perfect for Gameheart. And that's perfect for this modular system.
Oh, wow. So you can do that. You could do that.
Oh, fuck yeah. Why not? It's easy.
Dude, wow.
So, I mean, I want to, like, pay actual, like, 3D modelers to create little, like, swirling, like, icons to go above their head or something like that, right? So I just want it to look really cool, do a good job with it. And those are the types of things that are possible. That's just one idea, right? And then somebody suggested the Brood War music idea. That's another idea. Someone suggested player intros that have the pictures. They're like, oh, tournaments. You do these intros and it says the player's name, but we don't know what the guy looks like or anything. Why not put their picture up there? I was like well, shit, you could create a mod file and just plug it into Gameheart, or, I mean, almost anything if you design it, but I think it would work best with Gameheart since Gameheart already has a bunch of cool features. You could plug it into Gameheart so that you just have a selection of players, or let's say you pick a player's team, and then like another drop down appears, and it says, well, which player on that team is it? Then you pick that player, and then when you start the game, it automatically has an intro right in the game. So this is what helps small tournaments that don't have the ability to add those kinds of overlays and put those kinds of productions on. They get that easily just for them. If you want to put together an awesome looking show match next weekend, boom, you've got it, right? It's right there. You just bring the players into the lobby, select a couple of names, boom, you go. You've got an awesome, high quality, high production value show match. And that's what Gameheart is about. And it's I really hope that we can get it to that point. And the wider use it sees, the more tournaments that use it, the better it's going to get. And the better, even tournaments like WCS. Let's say WCS can't use Gameheart. Blizzard will never let them use it. It's going to get better for them too, because Blizzard wants their tools to be as good as any alternative out there. They don't want WCS tournaments going to them and going, we want to use Gameheart. They don't want that. They want their stuff to look as good or better than Gameheart. So they're going to keep improving their tools as long as we keep the pressure up on them. And Gameheart does that. Zoom, I don't think we would have Zoom.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know if we'd have BlizzOps without Gameheart. I'm not sure. So I think that Gameheart does a lot to keep pushing things forward. And if we see Gameheart die out, I don't know if things are going to continue to move forward the same way that they have. And the improvements in the last 8 months have been insane. It's totally different experience watching StarCraft today than it was a year ago. So I think that that's really arrogant for me to say, but I do think that Gameheart has contributed a lot.
No, I absolutely, I definitely agree with that. And the thing that I'm most concerned, though, I'm not most concerned, but the thing that I'm trying to look out for you, Ryan, is that you're not pushing Blizzard and doing all this stuff for nothing, right? I've always talked to you about that, right? Is that like, I know you don't want to do it for free.
I don't play StarCraft. I haven't played StarCraft in years, to be honest. That's like, I love watching it. That's what I do. So for me, that's what made this really interesting. But what this project has turned into more for me, and what my benefit from it is that I can put in my portfolio when I go to game developers and say, hey, I want a job as a UI artist or a game artist or whatever. I can say, I created this thing for StarCraft that completely changed the way that we watch the game. And if Blizzard or if Gameheart is spread to all of these tournaments, anybody I apply to, they see that on my resume or whatever, they can go and they can search for it and they'll see that DreamHack is still using it today, right? That MLG maybe is using it to convince them, or whoever. Sorry, go ahead.
Where Chris is going, and I totally understand with what you're saying because I've been in your boat before. I created a logo for a club, for a soccer club, and I wanted to see it go well and do great things for them and improve, and I wanted to see it used everywhere, and it sure was. It was used everywhere in Omaha. It's all over these jerseys and T-shirts, and I got nothing out of it. And I looked back on it and said, I really probably should have set myself up to get something out of it. But I do understand the whole idea of, you want to be able to use this on your resume and be able to show this off and bump yourself to the next level. And one of the things that Chris has always talked to me about too, though, is that you still have to put some value in your time and in what you're doing. And for me personally, as an event organizer, I certainly would pay something to use your product.
I
he can't charge.
I can't charge within the rules. I can't make using Gameheart exclusive to one person because they gave me money.
You don't have to make it exclusive. You don't have to make it exclusive, right?
Well, he's saying if he would pay for it, right? And I totally support that idea. Except that I can't physically charge you. If you want to pay me something to use it, but I don't think I can charge you anything.
So it has to be in the form of donation. It can't be in the form of. I mean, like let's just remove the exclusivity word.
Let me bring up the rules here. It's actually a very simple, like clean cut set of rules that they sent me.
Because this is the red tape. This is the red tape that's preventing like Ryan from making money right now, which is.
I don't know if I want to call it that because. There's things in here that I mean most of these rules I would abide by anyways. I want everyone to use it. So, but I would charge like a small fee if I could, I think. But I don't. I think we're past that point. It's not even worth really discussing it anymore. I don't think even if they suddenly decided that I was allowed to use that, or if maybe it is allowed in the rules, which I'm pretty sure it isn't, but maybe I just didn't understand it. Even if they decide that, I don't think I can change that now. I'm pretty committed to doing it the way that I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely want to get something out of it, and that's what this Indiegogo is about. And what's hard about it is that the people who are contributing to it don't necessarily get anything directly.
Right, which is usually a big part of the Indiegogos, right? It's just some incentive.
Right? Like, how are you supposed to get people to give you money for nothing? And that's the trick,
guys. That's why MIT is donating. MIT's think tank is donating to him. Okay, guys. So there's definitely something going on there. What are you saying, John?
I really don't see it as they're not getting anything out of it, though. I mean,
no,
we're all getting something out of it. Like you said, it's obviously pushed Blizzard to make some changes in their own, on their side of things. It's created competition. It's created better production value from top to bottom in many ways. I know tangibly, there's nothing that they can get out of it. They don't feel it, see it. I don't know. To me, I think it's a huge value add to the industry as a whole.
It is, but you know how consumers are. It's like
yeah.
I mean
yeah. Well, that's the trick. I can't.
That's all I'm say about that.
Right here, commercial exploitation of custom games. Custom game developers cannot develop custom games for profit at this time. So what they told me is since I can't charge people to use Gameheart, I can accept donations from Indiegogo or Kickstarter or whatever. But they also have a set of rules for that in number 7 here, donations for custom game development. So these are very specific. But even that stuff doesn't even really matter that much for me because
that doesn't apply to you at all. This is
nobody actually uses Gameheart. Just the tournaments do, right?
Yeah.
The viewers themselves don't use it, and they're the ones that I'm asking to contribute. So it's so tough.
Yeah, you're asking kind of like you're skipping a level right now, and you're asking for that's what I'm trying to tell you is that it's a service oriented model, and it's like the organization should be paying you, and not necessarily the consumer. So it's like out of our faith in the community, we should be donating to you, which is completely fine, all right. But the people that are actually using it and benefiting from it are the people that aren't paying you right now. That's what's crazy about it.
I think everyone's benefiting from it.
Yeah.
Honestly. I think Blizzard's benefiting from it. I think tournaments are benefiting.
Sure.
I think teams are really benefiting from it. I think that viewers are benefiting from it. I think casters are I think everyone benefits from this project in some way or another.
Absolutely.
And I think it's difficult to ask tournaments to pay because so few tournaments are using it right now. Because like I said, it's been out of use for a while because I haven't been updating it with new maps and new logos. Lots of tournaments have asked me to add their logos. I'm getting to I have a backlog of 50 tournaments and teams that have been asking me to add their stuff. I get on all of that. So that would be great if a team, if you want your logo in Gameheart, it's probably already there, but if you want to contribute $10, that would be great. tournament, if you want to contribute a little bit of money, and you're thinking of using Gameheart, or you already are using Gameheart, that would be great. I'd really appreciate it. Those would be really good things for me, and that would be really great for the project, and I think for the future of StarCraft spectating. I'm not saying it's going to save esports or anything like that. It's going to improve our spectating experience. It's going to make it better.
Okay, I'll just put it this way. There are streamers that make thousands of dollars from donations, and all these people giving money for basically just being entertained by these people. And Ryan's doing something that's actually good for the entire game of StarCraft in general, in esports. So, I mean, which do you think your $1,000? Do you think your $1,000 will benefit more going to somebody like Ryan or somebody like your streamer, like a streamer that's just entertains you every day? You know, you guys obviously have the choice to do that kind of shit, but I'm just saying that Ryan, like I said, is doing something that's going to actually grow our game or take our game possibly to a higher level. So,
if any pro players are watching this and want to be the face of Gameheart,
absolutely, dude.
Someone that I can get to help me market this thing. If anybody wants to contribute their time and their face and their name to help me promote this project, I would greatly appreciate it. It would be really helpful to me. So if anyone's watching this who thinks that they can lend some weight to it, that would be great.
No, I hope so. I think that's, I think if one person did help you champion it, Ryan, it would go so far. And I think, at a certain time during this, during Gameheart's success, I think a lot of people were talking about it. You have all these quotes at the bottom of your Indiegogo here, and I remember all of them. I remember some of these tweets. I think a lot of them were tweets, right?
Sir Scoots was a tweet. Some of them were said on The Good Show, on your show, on State of the Game, or whatever else. I mean, they came from a lot of different places. I just cherry picked my favorite things that people said about it. Yeah. I didn't say it when JP.
How am I not on there, dude?
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But people said a lot of great things about it. I think it had a great impact. I think that it's improved spectating, whether you're using Gameheart or not. I think it's improved spectating, and I think it can continue to do so. There's so much more we could still do. There's the stuff that MIT is working on. It's really interesting. You and I discussed something that you were considering working on before, and Gameheart.
Is it possible? Is it possible?
It's the implementation of what you were talking about and what MIT are talking about would have to be very similar. So we'd have to come up with a system. But yes, I mean, Gameheart platform for that type of thing, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Especially if we can get Blizzard to help us a little bit, make our lives a little bit easier. But we'll see. I've got some ideas for them and some things that I want to communicate to them. We'll see if they're willing to help us out. But there's so much more that can be done. I was talking to the GG tracker guy. I'm not, to really just basically talking to him. He donated $100 to this thing.
Awesome. They're great.
I contacted him to thank him, and we talked for a little while about like GG Tracker, Gameheart. How can these things work together, right? Like that thing. Yep. There's so many little projects that we can do and work into Gameheart. There's so many ideas that people haven't come up with yet, and Gameheart is the platform for those things. It's the foundation for this project.
And people don't understand the whole word platform, and that because it's such a technical kind of thing, and gosh, that's just so hard to explain to people, but it is a really, really cool thing. And I'm gonna have to brainstorm a little bit, Brian, to figure out the best way to kind of show that to people.
If anyone has any ideas on what I can offer, like I consider doing things like I could put in the perks thing, like I'll add your whatever custom graphic you send me as like a team logo that you can choose. So when you play with your buddies, you can get your own logo, right? And I'm going to add an option that makes it so that you can see, I think, the logos even if you're playing. It'll be off by default, so players won't see the logos. But say you're just playing a game with your buddies and you want to see your cool little logo or whatever, maybe I'm going to add an option that makes so you can turn those on so you can see them as a player. And that type of thing, if you want to add your own logo, I was considering making that one of the perks, and it would be retroactive if I do this, where I'll add your thing. But the thing is, since I'm already adding team logos for free, it seems almost stupid to do that.
Yeah.
But if people,
dude,
people want to contribute for that, I'll do it. But if anybody has any ideas on anything that I can offer you, I've been thinking like stickers or whatever, but that's That's so trivial. I just, I don't know.
If people want it, people want it. Even if it is trivial.
Yeah.
So I mean, just whatever
Yeah,
they tell you, just go
stickers
for
really
it.
aren't a bad idea, to be honest with you. That's normal.
Dude, I love Gameheart.
Anything
People
that
love
I can-
stickers.
So we'll see. Well, maybe we'll even move up to T-shirts or something. I don't want
There
to
you go.
Gameheart.
There you go.
There'll
Dude,
just be a picture of my face.
So one of the things that you said that was really, really cool just now for me was the ability to add add UI graphical kind of things to the game, like the stem representation and that sort of thing. How does Blizzard feel about that? Because I can think of a lot of things that would be so cool if it was added. Little tiny bits that would add just to the nuance of the game.
Given the fact that they haven't shut me down yet, I don't think that they actually give a shit unless it's affecting WCS in a negative way, right? Like I think that they'll let you do pretty much like whatever you want as long as it's within your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So with the graphical implementations, I don't think that they're very strict about that. I think they like it. I can't say for sure. I think they want to avoid like sponsor logos. I think they don't want Pringles logos on the maps, right? So I think they're trying to avoid that. I think they don't like that about the logos thing because who knows where that's going to go. But I've tried to keep it pretty strict so far. Even like tournaments they're like, oh yeah, we've got this, and this tournament. So can you put this logo there and that? And I'm like, that's not really what I do. You can put that on your interface, whatever, on your overlay for your stream, but I don't really like putting that on the maps. I've been pretty strict about that so far. There's some teams and stuff called the Ace, like Team Acer, right? Like, what are you going to do? That's their team logo. So I put that in. Blizzard doesn't seem to have a problem with that. As far as that kind of stuff, I don't think that they're really concerned. I think what really worries them about this is that they don't want to lose control of their game. Because things like Gameheart, people are using it for tournaments. Gameheart doesn't just have the power to change, like put logos on the map. It also has the power to change the movement speed of Marines, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what they're worried about. They don't want tournaments trying to rebalance their game themselves. And Gameheart sort of opens up the door to that. It's absolutely not my intention to do that. I don't care about game balance that much. I don't play the game. If I were going to make any changes, it would be to completely remove Protoss because I find them boring to watch.
Oh, man. Oh,
look,
man.
whatever. Sorry. I'm sorry.
So,
but I don't actually care about individual. Like, I'm not changing that type of stuff. So I think that's what they're worried about, though. They see Gameheart as like something that might open the door to that type of thing in the future. So I think that's.
I understand.
So as long as you avoid that type of stuff, I don't think that they care.
So can you change actual UI things, or can you only add to the current UI? Meaning, like, can you only add little graphics onto what's currently there, or can you actually change like Blinding Cloud, like the color of Blinding Cloud, for instance?
You could change the color of Blinding Cloud, I assume. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. You could change everything. You can do just about anything with the editor. It's really powerful. Except it gets laggy for some things, but I know that even they are considering doing stuff that should improve that. So they really want the editor to succeed. And I think that we have seen very little movement on it in the last couple of years, but the last 6 months have been crazy. I don't think people even realize how much Blizzard has improved in the last 6 months. They are really trying to make it better. And I think, you could do just about anything, change the color of Blinding Cloud. I don't know. Players probably wouldn't like that. So
it's just an example. It's just an example.
Yeah, but absolutely, you could do that.
Wow. Okay. Because this could act like almost like a state. I mean, I hate to bring this up again.
So what I try to do is like things with strong team colors and another.
Yeah. Oh, your sound went out again, bud. Uh-oh. Is it me?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you there.
Is it me for there? Oh, maybe it was me. John, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
The last thing I heard was, I hate to bring this up.
Oh, okay. Wow, weird. Okay, your videos are frozen again. Not sure. It could be just my connection.
Reset it?
Weird. Yeah, just do it real quick. Yeah, what I was going to say is that, like, I hate to bring it up again because, we've been talking a little bit about it, but it's just, again, it could be almost like a staging thing for them, like for us to try out all kinds of cool UI things and then they could implement into the main game. But it would be great if they just didn't do it anymore and then just let you do it and, have that integrated into the actual main thing. That would be great because they don't have to actually do it.
That's something else I wanted to talk about too. part of the problem with the way Gameheart works right now is if I don't do it, it's dead.
Right.
If I don't keep maintaining, it's gone. If after this redesign of Gameheart, after I leave, say 6 months from now, if I go, StarCraft, I'm out of here. I'm never going to do anything to help these guys again. Gameheart's still there. Anybody can update it. They just pull the mod file. They can easily change it themselves. It's super simple. It'll be simple to use, to read. I'm going to comment everything very carefully so that everyone can understand what it does. Teams will be able to, or tournaments will be able to add their own logos for teams and tournaments, which means if I'm not here a year from now and they want there's some new team in town or some new tournament, they can add their own stuff to Gameheart easily. I'm gonna put video tutorials. I'm putting video tutorials together that are concise and easy to understand, and I will put them on the Gameheart website, which doesn't really exist at this moment, other than a logo. And those tutorials will be there forever in the Gameheart YouTube channel or whatever. These tournaments will be able to see that stuff and know how to use it. They'll be able to create their own interfaces. They're going to have so much more control than they had before. Before, it was entirely in my hands. That's not really what I wanted. I just didn't know how else to do it. But now, it's something that the entire community can participate in. And that's, like, again, I'm not trying to take credit for what Blizzard has designed. They've designed a system that there's nothing stopping people from adding Brood War music right now to custom games. But the thing is that Gameheart creates a platform that they can easily add stuff onto, so they already get the benefits of Gameheart, and that we can keep growing the spectator experience to improve it. And if a tournament doesn't like the Brood War music, they don't have to use it. They don't have to add that thing. They don't even have to download the files. They don't have to add that to their stuff. They can leave it alone. So there could just be a bunch of options out there.
Yeah, I mean, you're providing, for layman's term, you're providing an easier interface for non-developers. That's kind of how you can look at it too. I mean, you can change like a lot of the integral things about a map easily through like an interface that you're providing versus the editor. Like having to learn the editor is not an easy thing to do for any person like in the community, right?
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's really confusing. And the thing about the editor too is that it's actually like whenever I run into a problem, I'd say 9 out of 10 times it's my fault. I'm like, oh, I'm stupid. I finally figured it out. But 1 out of 10 times, it's like an actual bug. And it takes you so long to figure out the difference between the two. Like, I think I've run into like 4 of them. Actually 5 now. I need to send them another thing that I ran into the other day. And you like boil it down, you go, okay, I think this is a bug. And most of the time when I send it to them, they've said like, okay, yeah, we can fix this. So one time they came back and said, no, this is your fault. And they fixed it for me. They like actually looked like, and this is why I say Gameheart supports, or I mean, Blizzard does support Gameheart. It's just that they're worried about what it could do. As far as, so they do support it. In fact, like I sent them my project, and they looked at it, and they found my problem. They fixed it for me. They told me it was wrong. They explained what was causing the problem. And to be honest, I don't think I could have ever figured that out on my own, because it was kind of a weird thing that they had, the way they had set it up. But they fixed that for me and sent it back. So they do support Gameheart. They didn't have to do that for me, because I would have been completely underwater if that had happened, if they hadn't fixed that for me. Nobody would have wanted to use Gameheart. It was basically like, it was a bug where when you try to center on your hatchery, it would like be slightly off center.
Oh, I remember that.
It would,
I actually
like,
remember
drive
that.
you insane, right?
Yeah. I remember you talking to me.
I don't play StarCraft, so it never occurred to me. But then I had like my buddy who's like Grandmaster or something. He plays tons of StarCraft. He's like, hey Ryan, I was playing a game and this thing was driving me crazy.
I can't inject my hatches, dude, because
Exactly. He was third player. So he found that, and I sent it to Blizzard because I was like, this is really weird. I don't understand what's causing this. Nothing I changed seems to fix it. And then they pointed out something really strange and fixed it for me. So that was really cool. And they've literally patched the game or the editor to fix things that I've found in the past. So they're definitely supportive of the project.
Excellent. Well, Ryan, why don't we kind of wrap this up, because we still got Tyler and Chris to come on, but why don't we take a few questions? How about 3 questions for any folks that want to ask Ryan a question? I think this hour that we spent on Gameheart has been really good. I hope we help you with this Indiegogo, and I'm always going to support your initiative on this. So anytime you need to talk to me, of course, I'm always available. But guys that want to ask Ryan, or actually John or I, any questions right now, why don't you add me on Skype? My Skype ID is ChanmanV, and I'll pull you on the call real quick, and we will, take maybe 2 or 3 questions. Or if you don't have Skype, just go ahead and just type it in the stream chat. We'll ask it too. That'd be good stuff. But yeah, a lot of new things I didn't even know about, Ryan, that you revealed today on the show. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
There's a lot changing with the editor and with what Gameheart can do and what its potential is for the future.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so the Ninjin asks, why don't you charge for videos and documentation for Gameheart? And by the way, the Ninjin apparently just donated $100, I think, to your project. So it's worth a question. It's worth asking a question for him, I think. So.
Hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. As far as why don't I charge for videos and documentation? Because anything that hurts adaptation or what is the word that I'm thinking of? The spread of Gameheart, more people using Gameheart. Anything that hurts that is not going to be ideal, I think. And I think that I want people to be able to get access to those videos and documentation so they can see for themselves what they're capable of doing, how easy it is to do, and so that smaller tournaments that maybe can't afford it. Because I want people to be able to throw show matches during the weekend. I'm a huge participant in the community forum over on Penny Arcade forums, and those guys, they do all kinds of little fun stuff. And if I was charging for access to stuff, they wouldn't use anything that I was doing. But I want small communities like that to be able to just use Gameheart to improve their stuff and have a more fun time playing. So that means small tournaments and teams. If you want your logos added, go ahead and just send them along. I will be happy to add them. So hopefully that answers your question.
All right, so it looks like all the questions are being asked in the stream chat. Troll question from Kalaris. Dear Brian, your beard is awesome. How can I be as awesome?
That's a really good question, Kalaris. Yeah, it's just something that I've been working on for many years, and I'm quite proud of it. I wish I could grow this part so I could get a full beard, but this part's pretty rich. So I'm satisfied with that.
You could cosplay a dwarf, awesome, man. I better see you at BlizzCon as a dwarf, dude.
I went to school for fine art at the School for Fine Art and Illustration, and a lot of my friends are professional artists who paint for World of Warcraft card game or for Lord of the Rings cards or whatever.
Oh.
I've been Gimli and Photo Reference. I've been an Ewok. I've been all kinds of awful things.
All right, two more questions here. Salvin asks, would it be possible... Well, actually, Storf asks first. How can we contact you for ideas for the Gameheart project?
You can email me at... Here, I'm going to put it in the chat right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can email me right there. Any ideas are great. I'd love to see them and hear them. Sometimes things are not possible for whatever reason, but I pretty much understand for the most part whether something will be possible or not possible immediately. Mm-hmm. If you think really creatively, sometimes you can make things work, but it could be pretty complicated at that point. But yeah, so yeah, please definitely submit your ideas. Okay. I think that there's so much more that could be done.
Awesome. Okay, Salvin asked, would it be possible for an observer to use groups? I mean that an observer would control one on a medevac and keep an eye on it. Oh, okay. So kind of like grouping if you're a player. Can you group would adding the feature of grouping as an observer be possible?
Not within Gameheart. Mm-hmm. Observers cannot interact with the game in that way. They can't
create hotkeys and shit like that, right?
You can't input data into the game. You can take data out of it. So you can send messages to observers through the custom map, but observers get messages to the custom map. So no, that's not possible at this time. Hopefully, I'm hoping that Blizzard will add some limited functionality there, something I haven't talked to them about, but I was really gonna go to their begging to them, and be like, please make it so refs can do this, maybe, or something like that. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. It used to be possible a while ago, but not anymore, unfortunately.
Actually, Race has a question about will there ever be an option to upload a clan logo as a player, like be able to select a file off the desktop and do it? It kind of reminds me of a question that I was kind of having in my head, which was, are you going to ever create a tool that automates things, pretty simple tasks in Gameheart, to just automatically create, like a custom map of, I don't know, like Newkirk City or something like that? I mean, do you have any tools that will be available to the community that could do things like that? Make it really automated, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, hold on a second. Let me answer the
question
first, and then we'll
yep.
As far as will you be able to upload it as an individual player, I would say no. You can email it to me and I'll add it, no problem. Right. At least after this new version, it takes me I can do an update every night pretty much. It's without even too much trouble. I probably won't do that, but I will probably update at least once a week. So if you just email it to me within a week, it'll probably be on every map using Gameheart pretty much. So that. I will set some guidelines for how to submit stuff, so it makes it really easy for me. Because sometimes tournaments and teams, they send me stuff, and I'm like, how am I supposed to make this fit into the right? And then they'll send me something, and it'll be like, this isn't even going to be readable. It has text that's the tiniest size, and then with something, I'm like, what's the point in the text on this? Because you're not going to be able to read it in game. There's stuff like that. So I'm going to try to create a little guideline, maybe a video telling you, or a written guide that says here's some ideas on how to submit logos. Here's the types of logos that work best. And tournaments, they can add Gameheart to their own maps in 10 minutes, right? So if they have 7 maps, it'll take them about an hour to add Gameheart to all of them. And then from that point forward, they can not automatically, but they can add their own teams and their own tournament logos. So say DreamHack wants a different logo that says Bucharest or Valencia or whatever, depending on what's happening. They can easily change that themselves if they wanted to. But they could still just email me the logos if they want, and I'll just add it to the global Gameheart instead of their specific version of it. Right. And you were saying, is there a way to automate stuff? I'm not entirely sure what you're asking.
Basically, maybe achieving something. I guess you'll always have to upload it, right, to all the servers. So that's always gonna. I mean, is that process ever going to be automated? You obviously have do you have a script that does that for you, or no? That you actually have to do it manually?
I manually modify all the logos. And
no, I mean actually uploading it to all the servers and that sort of bit.
Oh, okay. Here's how that works. When they send me a logo, I fix it up in Photoshop, then I add it to my mod file, right? And I have to input little things in the mod file, and when I update the mod file, it automatically updates every map using Gameheart, or it will in the future after this update.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yes, it's very cool compared to the way it was before. It's very cool. And real quick, I know that was the last question, but someone asked in the thing, can you use Gameheart in replays, to cast from replays? If they play the game using Gameheart, yes. Okay? So if you are a tournament that casts from replays, which there aren't as many of anymore, but there used to be a lot of them, if you're a tournament that casts from replays, your players will easily be able to set up a game using Gameheart themselves and then send you the replay, and you'll be able to cast from it just fine. You'll get all the features that Gameheart has. So, yes, to that extent. But if you're talking about, can you just cast a game from ladder with Gameheart, you could use one of the Gameheart interface files we're making, but you can't use the main Gameheart custom apps. And I'm sorry to the guys that I know should already be on this show instead of me. It's been an hour-long Gameheart commercial, but I hope you guys can appreciate what I'm trying to do.
That's right. It's going to be an hour-long TeSPa commercial too, so don't worry about that. Well, Ryan, man, I appreciate you coming on. And any shout-outs you want to do before you take off?
Shout out to everybody who's been contributing, especially at MIT Game Labs. I can't believe what they did. That's so cool of them. And I'm hoping that other people who have ideas will come forward and want to create stuff to improve Gameheart and the spectating experience of StarCraft. But thanks again to you and John for having me on here. And thank you very much, everyone.
All right, thanks so much,
Good
Ryan.
luck, man.
And again, guys, support Gameheart. It looks like we've, the donation number has gone up since we've been on the show. Yeah. So that's really, really cool. And what we're going to do next, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to set up the TeSPa guys, Tyler, Rosen, and Chris Kelly, to come on and talk about their rebranding expansion. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.